All right, we're good, Elena? Yeah? All right, so welcome to the Blood Prison Shakedown. If you're in the haunted attraction industry, you're going to know this guy, our next guest. Doesn't matter. If you work at a haunted house, if you're a vendor at one of the conventions, you know this guy. Welcome in, Scott Tater Lynd. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Well, I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah, we'll go with good today.
Good is good. Good is better than bad. And,
That's right.
You know, so, Tater, okay, first of all, I've known you for a few years now. I've known you as long as most of them have, and I've never asked you, where did Tater come from?
Well, you know, there's many stories out there, and everybody tries to get that information out of me.
Yeah.
I will say that the only ones that know are my brothers, the true story, and they're taking it to the grave with them.
I gotcha. Okay.
I could fabricate a lie for you if you want me to, but
it's all good.
There are a lot of people, and I like to mess with some people, and I tell them different stories.
Yeah.
And pass it off as fact, and sometimes I will occasionally pepper in
a little
the truth.
Yeah.
But the beauty of it is like I will tell you one story, and I'll tell somebody else a different story, and they'll be like, "Well, he told me this," and even if I told them the real story, they think it's still the fake story.
Someone, I can't remember who, right off the top of my head, but I remember asking somebody, why do they call him that? And they're like, he'll never tell you. Mm. So I just thought, well, maybe I'll just ask him straight up. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, and as we did, and when we were going to school, we went to a potato farm. Yeah,
which sounds as exciting as it actually sounds. Uh-huh. And where they would show us like the potatoes, or like how to pick them, and then they would bag them in the plants, stuff like that. Yeah. Well, when we were in the field, and they showed us how to unearth a potato. I was mesmerized by that or something, and they left me behind in the potato patch.
Right.
And they continued on with the tour, and then realized in the next step, hey, we don't have Scott.
Yeah.
And that could be one of the stories.
Could be.
I'm
sitting there listening, and I'm like,
yeah, he's getting the real one out.
Yeah.
No.
I got him.
So ever since, elementary school has been the nickname Tater.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, so most people like that I've talked to so far will, I kind of just ask them about, and you're kind of this, I don't want to say an oddity, but like everybody I know, like, is into the industry, and they're more haunters that work at a haunt or whatever. Like there's one girl that will tell me 5 generations of a backstory, and it's hysterical because I'm just like, you were so into this. But like your characters that I've seen you in are not a traditional character. Do you lean toward a non-traditional, like not a vampire or a werewolf or a mummy character or something like that? I always see you as this hillbilly or
right. So I try to create characters that are unique to the industry. I figure anybody can do a vampire, anybody can do a clown,
exactly.
Anybody can do a werewolf, and anybody can, as those characters can be scary or whatever. I lean towards, I want to be not the scary, I'm going to be the entertaining. When I first started, I was, 110 pounds. I've obviously put on some beer weight.
Right.
But nobody's going to be terrified of a 110-pound clown. Just not going to happen.
Sure.
So if I lean myself more towards the entertaining, because haunted houses should have, to me, a twofold approach where it's scary and entertaining.
Right.
Because if you're too scary all of the time, halfway through it, you're going to get, your senses are going to null out. And so, but if you do scare comedy skit, scare comedy skit,
right,
or whatever, then it's going to reset your mind and reset your body.
Sure.
So I am more than happy to be the, odd man out playing an old lady character or a hillbilly character or a pirate character. That's not quite right. Or, I did do a clown, but he wasn't even a scary clown. He was just,
just a clown.
Just a clown guy. But that was way back when.
Way back when. Most people, are born into it, or they find it and they're like, this is what I'm doing. How'd that work for you? So
when I was 8 years old, my dad worked for the Lions Club in the town I live, Pataskala. They had a Pataskala Haunted Forest furnished by the Lions Club.
Oh, right on.
He would take us out and lay us on the trail, and we would be laying on the trail and pop up and scare the people coming through. And as an 8-year-old kid or a 9-year-old kid,
Sure.
we would tend to fall asleep sometimes, and we just wake up in the Lions Club trailer. But every year we'd go back and do it again and do it again and do it again, and I progressed from just being a body on the trail to being actor in a scene. Then I was the back guide, which literally all my job was to do, Vic, was follow the group through and be like, yeah, we got everybody. Even if I didn't know, that we got everybody out of there, yep, we got everybody, and we'd move on.
Yeah.
And then front guide, where I would have to figure out the paths and not get lost. And I'm going to be honest, I did get lost, and we went off-roading for a little bit.
There you go.
And somebody had to come and be like, why is the flashlight way out there in those woods?
That's good.
Bring us back out, and then we would. Then I did my own scene, which was a clown scene. Mm-hmm. But even then, it was a funnier, skit. But because it was a charity haunt, or because it was a low budget haunt, we provided everything pretty much. They said, okay, this is your building. You want paint? We'll get you some paint. Anything else is on you. So I wanted to have good sound. I wanted to have good audio. I wanted to have, holes cut in where I could have 4 or 5 clowns. I wanted a trap door. I wanted, Mylar on the walls and hay on the floor, or sawdust on the floor, to make it feel like a real live circus tent you're walking into. And and I had I made a 2-way mirror, and people could check. It said, check for cobwebs in your hair. And when they would do that, I would pop on the light, and my face would be staring back at them, stuff like that.
Right.
Everything came from my pocket, or
nice.
my scene's pocket.
Sure.
We had a guy that, thank God, his name was Bill. He helped build. He was a carpenter or whatever, so he knew. If I say, hey, I want a wall over here, or a wall over here, or a fog machine to do this, we would somehow figure out how to do that and make that happen. So,
how old were you at this point?
I was probably 20.
Okay.
21, something around in there, early 20s, when I had my own scene. But even because it was an outdoor thing, when we weren't able to do the woods, we would contact local haunts and say, hey, Tater Park was a thing. Hey, Kelly Collins, remember your Feature Creatures. Mm-hmm. We got rained out today. Can we come and play at Tater Park, or something like that?
Right.
So we would just do that and make a whole season or a whole schedule filled of that.
Right.
But I started when I was 8 years old, and I'm now 40, so 32 years.
Yeah, I think
32 years.
Everybody I've talked to so far has been like, see, when I was 8 or 9 or, 10, 11, it's the same way. I feel kind of like the odd man out, because I don't think I went to a haunted track. Well, no, I was young when I went to like it's like a maze, not a maze, like a trail, mm-hmm. But it was a home haunter type of thing, and it was this whole ordeal, which was pretty funny. But that's how it kind of starts for everybody. So then you worked at that one. How did it evolve, man? Because you've like really climbed the ranks. Where'd you go after that?
So after that, after I was done there, because there was a lot of, granted, not to this capacity where everybody's used to. It was, I was a 20-year-old or an 18-year-old. I forget exactly how old I was, but, having to find the people to work the scene every night and running the lights and doing this and doing that and everything. It was just getting exhausting, and people would flake, and you'd have to, stuff like that. So I just... I joined a group called Feature Creatures sometime during that extent. And that's when the first year, like, Midwest Haunters Convention came around, and I was there's still photos of me as a clown as that. And then the second year, so the first year at Midwest, Feature Creatures won the scariest female character in the Midwest.
Nice.
So that's going there is second year. We wanted to get the title back, but none of the ladies were volunteering. And I made a comment, come on, ladies, you're scary enough without makeup. which then instantly volunteered me on the spot to create a female character.
Yeah.
And that's where Granny was born.
Perfect.
And kind of where you can kind of see
Yeah.
if you go back and look, you can see the progression of Granny throughout
Yeah.
the years of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing that.
So
Seeing you down there doing all that noise. Granny. There's the
Yeah.
thing about there's always there's staple characters like clowns. We have a Granny. We have a house upstairs. Well, we call him because it's a guy.
Mm-hmm.
We call him Granny. Maybe it was just inspired by you. Don't even realize it. It was a guy, a Granny, and he's a big dude. He's a little bigger than me, and he's got a full beard, and we dress him up like a Granny, and he's what you're talking about. He's the comic relief, the first set of comic relief in the house, because he says all these inappropriate things to the guests that they're expecting, just the normal scary stuff or the creepy stuff, and he says something about being as wet as a slip and slide.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that just kind of like whoa, and it kind of throws him through that loop. We saw one in Tennessee at a haunt down there where this guy was like, I mean, he was like, it was weird because he came up and he just stood there and just stared at us, and we got to the point where we're just kind of uncomfortable. It was me and a friend of mine from here at the Reformatory, and we just thought maybe he was not going to do anything. And then, we're talking like 2 or 3 minutes of him just standing there. I swear he didn't blink. And then he just let out the scream, and we were like, and then he walked. Everyone just started laughing around us, So it's that Granny character that
I can get away with saying a lot of things as the Granny character that I couldn't instantly be arrested for or punched or knocked out for.
Right.
If I said it without the costume and character on.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and here, I don't know about where you've been, but, I'm sure you've come across that. Even here, everywhere, that can happen, even in character. That happens to us every year. Somebody gets punched or, by some of the guests, and we love our guests, but it's just like, dude, take your gloves off when you walk in,
right.
man. Yeah.
Right, yeah. You just, and that's the hardest part, is learning to read everybody down that line and know which ones you can pick on and which ones you can't.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that took me the longest thing to do, is because I would just go straight down the line and just start picking on everybody.
Yeah.
But then there was like an MMA fighter one time, and
that didn't work out.
I had to leave the area for the while until he came through the haunted house and exited the property.
Whoops.
Oh, well. It happens. Yeah.
That's why you're there, though, man. Why are you there? It's like, come on, man. We're going to do our best to scare you or entertain you, one or the other. So, out of all those characters, I mean, do you have one you like to do? Like, what's your go-to?
Well, before I started being a slave to the trade show floor,
right.
Granny was the go-to. As I've gotten older and talk more on the trade show and be more active in shows, my voice tends to drop out, and I can't be Granny.
Right.
So I'm always easy to slip into doing. It's a super easy character to slip in and out of. Well, slip into. It's slipping out of. You'll see me out of costume hours after I put on Dwayne, and I still have a little bit of a hillbilly accent going on. But
it's got his own page and everything.
Yeah, he does. Granny does too, but they're not very active lately. I was playing management for a while at a haunted house and didn't get to play for a while.
Yeah, that always sucks. I know a lot of people that once they get to a certain point, they're like, it's like I'm too busy doing other things. I can't get into character. Like my acting manager here, he'll go out maybe 2 nights of the season and he'll get into his costume and he does this big stilt character and everything. It's really cool. But, he's just like, I got to keep an eye on everything. I can't, can't get out there. He misses it big time. So, what would you tell somebody, like if, because like you said, since you're 8 years old, like somebody's like, man, I want to come into this and I want to do this. What advice would you give to somebody going into, to work at a haunted attraction? I don't care if it's a mom and pop, home haunt or, someplace like here or anywhere in between.
I would tell them, don't be afraid to try it.
Yeah.
Whatever crazy idea that you have in your head, don't be afraid to try it. If I went to half the haunted houses that I've worked at, and said, hey, I got an idea for a new character. It's going to be an old lady character. Mm-hmm. Half of them would laugh me right out of the room.
Yeah.
But because I honed that character and edited that character and worked with that character. Now there's, offers from all over the country for me to come out there and play that character, where half of them wouldn't even entertain the idea. So don't be afraid to try it.
Right.
Try everything. If you don't like that character, don't be the whiny guy and say halfway through the night, like, this isn't working out for me. Finish the night and then try a different character the next night if you want to.
Now, do you do your makeup and everything?
I am not talented in that way. I will stab myself in the eye with the paintbrush 5 times before I can get the paint on me.
There you go.
So I'm not makeup talented.
Got to have a makeup artist.
Got to have a makeup artist for me. That's and then I give them the, Dwayne's always going to have a black eye and a crappy tattoo on his arm.
Right.
Granny's always going to have the blue eyeshadow, and I'm going to have I can do the lipstick because it doesn't need to be perfect.
Right.
So I gave them the staples, right? Yep. And I'll give them the staples of, this is what it needs to staple wise. This is your template, and I'll make the rest happen.
So you mentioned being a slave to the trade show floor, and like I said, I don't think I've ever been to a convention of any sort, and I didn't see you there. You know what I mean? So I hear what you're saying. When did the Froggy's Fog, have you always been with them, or was you at another place? Or?
I was at I was at another company.
Yeah.
They brought me in because of my influence in the industry, and they told me they were trying to flip over a new leaf and try to get customers back, and I needed to be that guy, the trustworthy guy that says, hey, look, they hired me, and I'll make it happen for you. And it was Scare Factory.
Oh.
We all know how this story ends.
Oh man, come on. We haven't even mentioned them yet.
And it ends all bad. And I was determined because I already had a ticket to Transworld.
Yeah.
I already had a hotel room. It was already paid for.
Yeah.
I already had a ride. I was still going to go to Transworld.
Gotcha.
Even though I didn't work, I made it for about an hour, or not an hour, but about a year and a half, 2 years maybe.
When was that?
I worked for Froggies for 8 years, so 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I was in the bar, and my boss, my boss was in the bar, and he came by and he goes, I heard you don't work for Scare Factory anymore. And I said, I don't. And he said, you should work for me. And I said, great. However, I don't know what my non-compete contract was. I don't know, if it comes into play or whatever. And he goes, screw him. I have better lawyers. Give me a call on Wednesday.
There you go.
This could have been at the end of the night, Vic.
Yeah.
And not the beginning of the night. Mm-hmm. So I call him on that Wednesday, and he goes, I don't remember saying that, but you should work for me.
There you go.
And that's where I got teamed up with Froggies.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
They said you can stay at your house in Ohio. You have an apple orchard that your parents have and your uncles have, and stay up in Ohio. We don't need you in Tennessee. We'll get you a remote office. We'll teach you everything you need to know.
That's awesome.
So
yeah.
Now I'm happily there for 8 years, I think.
Well, that's great, and you're pretty much a staple there, and everywhere really. But since I don't want to go on a tirade of That's one thing I try not to do. I'm not gonna trash anybody, but it baffles me with the company you used to work for how that works out, because. And I'm going to tell you what happened to us, just because I haven't yet, and I'm not going to drop names because the guys there, I love them.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
Look, it's the guys there are some of them are amazing.
Yeah, the ones I know are.
Some of them are not.
Yeah, the ones I know have been. Well, they go through people like Matt. I've got people that work here that used to work there. And long story short is it's like I had their representative actually came here, came to the reformatory, and we walked around, and I was like, this is what I was thinking here, this is what I was thinking here, and he's like, yeah, we can do that, and I told him the props that I wanted from them, and this is even before Transworld, so we're like a month and a half away from Transworld, maybe a month, something like that, and I put money down. I gave him money as a deposit, thinking, sweet. So we're even ahead of the game because Transworld's not here yet. We got our money in. He's like, we'll have your stuff by June. I'm like, that's awesome. June rolls around, nothing. July rolls around, nothing. Long story short, he never delivered my stuff. And he never gave me my money back and told me, well, you had custom props, so I'm not. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? And
it's not surprising.
Oh, man.
Literally.
That's what everyone I've talked to has said, pretty much.
Very not surprising. I can tell you stories on stories of, hey, I would get, he would walk into my office with a folder and slam it down and say, call these people, tell them the props are on their dock, and get the rest of their money. So I would call all these people, not realizing that maybe that's not the case.
Right.
And call him, and he just wanted to go on vacation.
Yeah.
Needed the money.
That's crazy.
Went on vacation. Left me dangling,
That's crazy. Well, I mean, it's the way some people do business, and, it is what it is.
Have you ever got those props yet?
Never.
Not yet, huh?
Haven't got refunded.
Bet you're not going to get them
either. No, that was
not recent. This recent news that came out.
No. Oh yes, yeah, I saw that.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
No, and I wasn't counting on it.
Yeah.
It's just like whatever. After then, I started hearing a bunch of the stories, but again, I don't want to spend this time.
It was not let me just put it like this. It was not a good employment time in my life.
Yeah. Well,
I actually left there and went back to serving because serving treated me better than they did.
Really? Yeah. Yeah, that's just crazy. But leading to Froggy's Fog then, I mean, you haven't looked back.
Haven't looked back.
Yeah, I mean, it's worked out really well then.
Yeah, I get a fog machine anytime I want a fog machine.
There you go.
Yeah,
I talk to you. I get my order from you about, every year because we go through a lot here. But, and you guys are everywhere. I mean, it's like, everywhere I've been, I've always seen Froggy's Fog. So are you guys basically just the staple on fog? I mean, I know a couple of the other fog companies, and I'm not, saying anything about them. I'm just saying, like, I seen you at HauntCon. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I don't buy anything at HauntCon. I just go for the seminars and take some of my actors down there and they have a good time and we go to the haunts and stuff like that. But you guys like sponsor everything, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, especially with the fog industry, it seems like there's a new fog vendor every year.
Right.
It pops up randomly at Transworld or HauntCon or Ohio Haunters or wherever. There's going to be a new fog vendor somewhere.
Yeah.
And we feel that if we don't get our name, I mean, our name's out there, but if we don't prominently say, hey, we're still here, still alive, then we're going to float into, oblivion.
Right.
And the other thing is we're doing it to show support for the industry.
Sure.
This is the industry that got us started. We're going to pay it forward as much as we can.
Right.
And
that's great.
We didn't have to sponsor Transworld this year.
Right.
But we wanted to make sure that it happened. So we helped out with doing that. And,
sure.
Midwest is the same way. We want to make sure that we help the haunters in need. And I can't tell you, if there's a haunt that's down or that got burnt down, or there was one that, was putting on a show and it got like wrecked by a hurricane, and we just donated a couple machines to them and said,
that's cool.
Get back up on your feet, Yeah. So we're there. We're, and then the joke is, like talk to Froggies, they'll sponsor everything. But,
right.
Yeah. It's pretty much true is we will sponsor just about anything, show wise.
So, all right. So then, I'm going to ask at some point, how did you guys get through last year? Because I work at Creature Core, and we got hit hard.
Last year absolutely sucked.
Yeah.
We pivoted. We had the chemicals that we needed in-house anyway to make hand sanitizer.
Yes.
So we decided we were going to try making hand sanitizer.
Yeah. And
we sent out an email saying, essentially to some people, we're going to make hand sanitizer.
Right.
And then somebody posted that Froggies is making hand sanitizer on these websites like slickdeals.net and stuff like that. And then a team of 5 salespeople, probably 15 people, company wide making hand sanitizer had 10,000 orders in 2 days' time.
There you go.
And those 5 people had to answer every phone call that came in. And if you ordered it on a Wednesday and it wasn't out the door by a Friday, people were calling. And they are not the nicest people. They are very angry that they did not get their hand sanitizer on Thursday instead of, whatever.
Right.
But what they didn't realize is, we were a company of 20 trying to do this as much as we can.
Right.
Meanwhile, when all that's going down and my phone's ringing off the hook and I'm having PTSD or anxiety from my ringing phone because I know if I'm going to answer it, I'm just going to get screamed at, my living space flooded.
Oh, no.
So all of my stuff, just 5.5 inches of water.
Oh.
So I got the honor, just the pleasure of not answering, getting screamed at, but dealing with like Surf Pro and flooding and the insurance agents and rebuilding that.
Oh man!
And we did pivot. We did make hand sanitizer.
I saw that.
I can't. The first couple batches, obviously we screwed up on. It didn't smell the best, and
that's what I heard.
It's kind of liquidy, but the stuff that we make now is pretty good.
You going to continue on?
We bought a whole other building, a bottling line, a whole other plant, hired a whole other team to sell hand sanitizer. So I don't think we have much of an option anymore.
Yeah.
So we got one plant doing froggy stuff and one plant doing the simply hand sanitizer stuff.
Nice. Well, as much as they're letting off of everything,
right.
That is still something. Hand sanitizer was already out there and people had it everywhere. So you can't go wrong there. Yeah, because I think I got one of your emails about the hand sanitizer, but the separation between me and the reformatory, they kind of already had something going on. I don't even know what it was. But, it was hard for us too. But that was actually one thing here that when you said pivot, it made me think the guy that runs the reform, like the head guy, he bought shirts that said pivot on it because we had to do the same thing, just here at the reformatory to make everything work because, being shut down is bad for business no matter what.
Right.
Shutting down Trans World and that year in 2020 was, that was just...
I think I only went to 3 shows. 2 of them were before COVID. One was after.
Really?
I did one, the Corn Maze Convention, which Vic is about as lively as it can get. A bunch of farmers and have corn mazes, and usually they don't have power in their corn maze, so it doesn't make. But we were actually in Orlando, and we did it's called Keys to the Kingdom tour at Disney. Apparently, I thought it was just they booked a special tour through Disney. Apparently, you can go on Disney's website and get this tour. And it shows you, behind the scenes of tour. You go Disney. Cool. You go underneath, in the underground tunnels and stuff like that. And one of the questions asked was, now this is like 2 weeks before everything got shut down. Was what are you guys doing for COVID? And the guy said, we're not even worried about it. There's not an extra hand sanitizer stand out. There's not an extra hand washing station out. There's nothing. We're not worried. We think it's just going to pass. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, Disney shut down. It's like, well, things changed that quick.
Oh, yeah. It was like a domino effect, man.
It
was crazy.
Yep.
I'm so glad it's over, but it's just, for the most part. But yeah. Dude, speaking of my wife, she worked at Disney in college, and she told me about the underground tunnels at Disney. She's like, it's crazy.
It was absolute. There's a barber shop down there. Yeah. There's hair and makeup. There's wardrobe. It's absolutely. If you have the ability to go on that website, if you're down there, if they're still doing the tours, because I thought they stopped, but they might be back up again. That Keys of the Kingdom. Just from the fact where you walk in, how as soon as you get off the boat and you cross into the gate, there's the people taking pictures. Well, that's because if you're doing a movie premiere, there's always a paparazzi out front.
Right.
So that's the experience. And then when you walk under the train station, you're going into the theater.
Oh, wow.
And then the floor is painted that red.
Yeah.
There's your red carpet.
That's cool.
And as soon as you get in there, there's the windows at Disney. They all have names on them. There's your cast and credits.
Oh, that's cool.
So just learning that part, that is definitely worth. And then you get to see underground and the trash thing and where they hold the parade floats and
right.
They tell you not to talk to the princesses unless they talk to you.
Really?
Well, maybe they just put that out there for me.
Yeah, probably.
They probably just said, you look shady. You don't talk to any of the girls.
This guy right here.
Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome, though.
Yeah.
So do you ever go to the IAPA trade show, you guys at that?
We do.
Yeah?
We do the IAPA. Yeah, that's the fun one.
Yeah.
That's the big amusement park show. And
right.
Yeah.
That's
get
cool.
to do that one. Get to always do the behind, the IAPA celebrates on Thursday nights where they close down an amusement park for us.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a fun one too.
Did you do the Six Flags thing at Transworld this year?
I did. I did. And I
didn't.
You were smarter than I was, sir. I probably can't talk about too much of it because I don't want to lose Six Flags as a customer.
Yes.
But
I just wondered.
there was, it. To me, it felt like they've just abandoned that theme park.
Really?
Just said,
yeah,
it is what it's going to be. I mean, the carousel had no horses on it. They were decaying wall brick planters with it looked like a car smashed into it and just broke a hunk of it off and they just left it there.
Yeah.
But this was in the back of the park.
Yeah.
There was no cars around unless the engineering guy wrecked his golf cart into it, which is a possibility. I mean, I guess. But, it was definitely...
Yeah. Well, and that was one of the main things that I was kind of I mean, I understand after last year that this year, I know there was a lot of vendors that weren't there this year. There was, but I always look like what I look forward to most to when we go to anything, whether it's Midwest or Transworld, any of the conventions, I like going to the haunts. That's what I want to do more than anything. So when that wasn't going on, I was just like, oh man, it really blows. And I just hope that next year they bring it back. And that's another reason why I really regret not going to Midwest. I was just too busy. We're starting this thing and, we have a lot of stuff going on here, but I wanted to go to that Terror on the Fox. I've heard nothing but good things about that place.
Yeah.
That's like the main thing. How many haunts do you say you've probably been to over the years?
Oh gosh, I couldn't even fathom the number because I can't tell you how many people are like 2-day bus tours or 1-day bus tours that I've been on.
Yeah.
Midwest used to have a 2-day bus tour where we would, spend the night in a city and see 7 haunts one day and 5 the next or something
crazy.
like that. And I was on the tour for every year. I can't tell you how many times that I have.
Yeah.
How many haunts that I've been to, especially not even during the off season where, hey, I'm in your city.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get dinner and we'll go see the haunt.
There you go.
And stuff like that. I cannot probably in the triple, maybe if not the, 4 digits.
Wow.
Numbers. I mean, it's probably hundreds to thousands, probably end of hundreds.
That's
into the hundreds.
That's pretty amazing though, because I mean, how many haunts are in Ohio? We're in Ohio. How many haunts are here?
67? No, 137, I think is what it was.
That's
last
crazy.
I counted.
That's just here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and
it tells you something about what we do.
That was one of my projects this year at Froggy's was to go through, find all the haunts in the state, call them up and say, are you open? Are you closing? Are you, in a hold pattern? So red, yellow, green. Red if they're just out of business forever.
Yeah.
Yellow if they're not sure they're opening. Green if they're opening.
Right.
And just going through every state alphabetical and listing every haunt. And I'm telling you, by August, I was getting super depressed because it was like Ohio has this number and it's like 5 open, and it's like.
That's what I did during COVID because like the prison lockdown. I was no pun intended, but the prison was shut down, so no tours, no nothing. We were unsure about Blood Prison being open, obviously at that. So and then Creature Core, we didn't go to Transworld, so we're like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? So I sat in my office at home and just did this exact same thing. I mean, I first went through our client list first, and it was just like, hey, reaching out, if, let me know if you're going to open, if there's, this, that, or the other you need, the normal ones that we do business with every year. And then I did the same thing. I just went to, whatever, Find Your Haunt or Haunt World or whatever, where it has just the lists of all the haunt. And I just went through and tried to find all the contact information and just started sending out emails and, trying to find numbers to call. Are you going to open? Just to see if we could stay afloat. Luckily we did, but it was rough, man.
It was awful. I mean, super depressing kind of then
it was,
too.
Yeah.
Hearing the stories of like, no, I think this is going to be our final year. We're done for, and
that's
stuff
horrible.
like that.
Because even around here, we got us, and then there's one guy across town. There's a haunt called Trail Nightmares, which is fabulous, great haunt. And then there's another one, maybe 15, 20-minute drive in Perrysville. It's called Mohican Haunted Schoolhouse.
Yep.
They got a sweet load. The schoolhouse is just so awesome, and they're really great people. So we were talking a lot. I was talking with Ed over there a lot, and just trying to see if everything was gonna keep rolling. And luckily, we were all able to open. It was a good thing. But we always try to do stuff for each other. Even not when there's
it seems like this if you opened, you were in it to help the industry.
Yeah.
To get people out of the houses, and you were willing to, hey, we haven't talked to that haunt in 20 years, but we're going to partner up with them and make sure they get through the season, and we're going to get through the season, and we're going to share the knowledge that we've learned from, over the years, and they're going to share the knowledge. And it seemed like it was for once, it seemed like everybody was on the same page if you're open.
Yeah.
Where it's like an open book. You can call them anytime and say, hey, what about this time ticketing thing?
Yeah.
Or how are you going to do this? Or, what's your plans for that? And, and it seemed like everybody that I've talked to, even the haunts that were considered rivals with each other, banded together and worked together to get through this year, which was really kind of cool.
As far that's funny you mentioned that, because I'm like, as far as I'm aware, I don't have a rival. Like, I don't look at somebody and be like, those guys. I'm pretty cool with everybody. Do you see that a lot, like not just in Ohio, but everywhere? Do you know haunts that are just like...
Oh, they absolutely hate each other.
Yeah?
Absolutely do not like each other or not, but then I saw them joint marketing campaign this last season. It's like, oh, well, maybe they've crossed that bridge,
Maybe.
And
well, you hope something like that brings everybody together.
Yeah.
You'd hope.
It's crazy. Yeah. There's always the one person up... Like in Ohio, they're in the northern region. Mm-hmm. It just nobody seems to get along with.
Oh yeah,
and it seems like everybody was friendly to this year, and cool. None of the shenanigans that they usually pull was being pulled.
Right. So. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I actually told one of my actors there was the haunt reviewers will haunt of the year. Like there's 10 different reviewers and they all give different haunts haunt of the year. So then. Oh, well, we got Haunt of the Year here, so we'll gravitate to them. You know what I mean? But then, another haunt gets Haunt of the Year and a different reviewer. And I had one of my actors one time, a former actor, doesn't work for me anymore, just started ripping this haunt. And I was just like, so I messaged her and I was just like, you will take that down, you will delete that, or you're fired, because that's not what I'm trying to do here. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, I would help anybody out that needed my help. You can ask the ones I have helped out. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm more of a, community-based kind of guy than I am, But I guess it's good for social media.
Now, let me ask you this, because how do you feel about haunt reviewers? Does anybody that comes in and says, "Hey, I'm a haunt reviewer," do they get free tickets?
I mean, I give passes to the ones that I know. You know what I mean? Like there's about 3 that I give
some
passes
to.
Now, that being said, I had this one lady come up from, this is what she told me. And I'm just like, really? And I was like, okay. And she's some magazine in Los Angeles. She goes, I was in LA and I did some stuff there. Then I flew to Atlanta and I went to Netherworld. I was like, oh, she goes, well, I just flew up here just to see you guys. And I was just like, great, you went from Netherworld to us.
Right.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. we want to do a review on your haunt. And I'm just like, okay. And I asked, like, do you have any? I can't even remember where, but I'm like, do you have credentials of any kind? And she was like, no, I don't. I'm sorry. And I was just like, so I was like, look, if you buy a ticket, I'll upgrade you. And I did that. So like, she bought a ticket and I upgraded her. But usually, I'm not. I mean, like I said, the ones I know, I'll go ahead and let them in. But
I'm gonna be honest. With the haunt that I managed for 4 years, had a really good policy of we don't care if you're a haunt reviewer. You could be JoeSchmoesHauntReviews.com.
Right.
We're not going to give you free tickets. Give us something that we want.
Sure.
So you feel invested in this process. And what we've decided was it was a 24-pack of Coors Light. 24-pack of beer. Bring it up to my ticket window.
Yeah.
You're invested because you're on the hook for the $20 case of beer.
Right.
At the end of the night, my actors who are illegal get the beer. And, it makes an even trade.
Yeah.
And that's good for 4 passes or whatever.
Hey.
And
that's not a bad policy.
Everybody wins because they're on the hook for the $20.
Yeah.
And there's one guy that always comes through this area. And he's like, "Are you serious about that beer?" He showed up 2 years ago without the beer.
Yeah.
He said, there's a 7-Eleven down the street. You're not getting in until you bring us that beer. And he went all the way down, got us a 24-pack, and brought it back. And he got in.
Yeah, that's the gears are turning now.
Because, knowing that we get bombarded every year, and we just say, all right, well, the entrance fee for 4 people is a case of beer.
Right.
And, only a handful that actually email you that say, hey, I want to come through.
Right.
I need free tickets. I need to review your haunt.
Yeah.
Will actually bring up that beer. And when they do, it just provides a little extra kickback for the people.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of them don't even reach out. Some of them will just come and they'll go through the line and or buy whatever ticket they're getting and then they'll come in and do it. And then I'll get tagged in a review or something. I'll just be like, oh man, I didn't realize that was going on.
Right. There's a big group and I forget where they're from, but they always bring like 20 people and they always buy the tickets. They never tell you they're coming through, but I've seen them at different haunts. Yeah. And they always love the shows. Sure. They're doing it for the right thing.
Right.
And they're not contacting you ahead of time asking for free tickets. They're they're there, they're buying their own tickets and they're going through. And that's a good way to do it too.
So then, are you still haunting or are you just froggies?
So, obviously I've had some circumstances in the last year. I did not enjoy the 2-hour drive every time I went up to, and 2-hour drive back. I was at Akron Haunted Schoolhouse and Lab for 4 years. I was there to bridge the gap between the old management and the new management. Yeah. And I feel like that gap has been bridged.
Sure.
And it was time for me to move on from Akron. It was, no hard feelings to John or his team or anything. Yeah. It was just, I was there to do a job. I did the job. I feel like they have the people and the places that they need to have the people and the places of now. And it was time to move on. And I haven't, honestly, Vic, I have not looked into my season yet to see. Right. And it could just be a season where I just, take a year off and go through and say, hey, I want to see Blood Prison. I want to see, Haunted Schoolhouse and Lab. I want to see Pataskal Haunted Forest. I want to fly out to Fresno or go down to Dark Hour or Netherworld. Yeah. I haven't been able to do that. I've been tethered to one haunt for 4 years now. Right. And, I get to do that.
Did you work somewhere? Because, is there other places between the Lions Club thing and Akron Schoolhouse?
Yeah, there was Feature Creatures, that was Terror Park, and it was Scaratorium.
Scaratorium, okay, yeah.
I was a traveling actor for years of haunt could contact me, like Waverly Hills in Kentucky or, New Jersey would contact me and they said, I would tell them, buy my plane ticket and hotel plus X number of dollars a day and you got me. Wow. And I'd bring my characters up to them. Yeah. And, cool. Going all the way out. There's one haunt that I always make sure every year I go to, and it's Hobbs Grove out in Fresno. Mm-hmm. They have something special. I don't know what it is. They've bottled the essence of Halloween kind of there. Yeah. And I will always make a trip out there.
That's awesome. I was talking with I don't think it was that one, but it was one out in California. I can't remember. 17th floor. Have you heard that one?
17th Gate?
17th Gate, maybe?
There's 17 something, yeah.
Out in California.
That's out in LA, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, every time I go to that one, I just feel like, I don't know, there's something about it that kind of, is just
something magic in that area.
Yeah, and maybe that's something for everybody, at a different haunt. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was talking with one of the reviewers that came through, and we said the same thing. It was just like, man, I still wish I had that fear of the old days going in, like the legit being scared.
Right.
You know, because you're not scared going in now. You just walk in and be like, oh, look at that.
Yeah,
That's
it's now like, oh, that's Ghost Ride, that's Gorgalore, that's like, oh, that prop's not working. That must be Scare Factory.
Oh, here we go. There's an immortal mask right there.
Yeah. Oh, that's CFX over there. You know. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we got Ghost Ride right here.
And you just popped out like, oh, hi, Jim. Like, I haven't seen you since the convention. How you doing?
Yeah, I saw you up there in Akron one year. I think we came up for the Valentine's Day thing, and you were walking around. And then you were like, I didn't see you. I'm like, I took a picture with you, man. What are you talking about? Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's it's a different story when you're management. You're just rushing around.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're going to just go. You're going to go to, you thinking you're going to go to haunts this year rather than, or maybe hit a couple? Or,
hit a couple, maybe. Yeah. I'm just going to make it a chill year where it's going to be easy and relaxed, where I don't have to.
Sure.
Go every weekend. If I feel like picking up a weekend, then I've got phone numbers in my phone that I say, hey, I'm planning on coming out to your show. I'm planning on coming here. I want to take a tour to go to the, Northwest, where see Haunted Overload and Fright Kingdom and all those haunts up in Connecticut, that area, Field of Terror, stuff like that.
Yeah.
If I feel like doing that, then I'll book a trip and go up there and see as many haunts as I can see in the 2 days, 3 days time, and come back down.
Yeah.
What it also does is it also makes me touch base with, hey, here's your fog rep.
Yeah.
I didn't have to, just check in to make sure everything's running okay and you don't need anything.
There you go.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's and it's a write-off.
It is a write-off.
I'm here to check make sure your fog machine's working. Is that high dissipating fog? Because it seems to be, what's going on here? Yeah, now that's genius, man. So you were at Midwest here recently.
Yes.
Did you hit the haunts up there?
I did. I was on the bus tour. I'm in charge. I've got the only job that nobody wants.
Yeah.
Is being in charge of the drunk bus. And
was that bus 2 this year?
That was always bus 2.
Yeah.
Bus 2 is always.
Yeah.
And we got sunglasses made. We had goodie bags. Bus 2 was rocking this year.
Yeah.
We took a year off. We let everybody have their own bones rest for a little bit.
Yeah.
But we came back with a vengeance, and we rocked pretty hard.
Was it good? Were the haunts good?
Haunts were great.
Yeah.
Haunts. Every one was an amazing haunt.
Which ones you hit? All the ones that...
Abandon, Green Bay Fear, and Terror on the Fox.
Right.
All three.
Good stuff.
And all three of them fired on all sorts of different levels that, each one was a different thing.
Yeah.
So...
That's cool.
There's things that I liked about Abandon that I didn't like about Green Bay, but there's things about Green Bay that I didn't, stuff like that. And they were all just world-class haunts that deserved to be on the tour. There was not, sometimes when on the tours you're like, oh gosh, why is that haunt on here?
Yeah, yeah.
It's black plastic and pallet hands.
Yeah.
But there was not a single one, and there hasn't been in a couple years.
That's good.
So it was a fun time.
That's cool, man. We what is your thoughts on all these, the off-season haunts? Like, the Midwest thing, obviously people are going to open for that, but like, we're going to do a Christmas haunt this year. First one we've ever done. Mm-hmm. We were going to do one last year, but it was weird because we got through the season with COVID, but then it got worse as it got closer to Christmas, and they basically shut more down, and we
shut it back down again. Yeah,
but we're excited for the Christmas haunt. I was talking with the last guest here, Abe, and he was like, I was telling him, I love the idea of tainting other holidays with Halloween. You know what I mean? Just getting on there and saying, all right, Christmas is taking over. We're gonna do a Christmas haunt, Krampus, and all that good stuff. Do you like doing those?
I like doing those. I especially loved the Valentine's Day show that we did in Akron.
Yeah,
it just fired on so much fun level.
Yeah.
The off season one that Factory does, the Krampus event.
Yep,
Where
I've been there.
we
Yeah.
just literally smash every Christmas character that we could think of. You know, there's the Grinch and there's Buddy the Elf and
Yeah.
Bad Santa and
Yeah.
Krampus running around and all sorts
Yeah.
of different things.
It's fun.
It's always fun.
Yeah.
You know, where Halloween, you know, you're kind of into that jam of it's go time.
Right.
And now it's in the off season where you got one weekend, just make it as fun as possible.
Yeah, and it's interesting how on the off-season events, like I've noticed, because we do, I mean, the only thing we've done really off-season was, you know, we have the music thing, the incarceration, so we're going to open for that. We've opened for that twice, and then there was another one. Oh, they did that Ohio Halloween convention here one year.
Yes.
And we opened for that. But it was like, the actors were super excited. I don't know if they just knew because we're only going to be open for, you know, 5 hours and it's 2 days. And,
Yep.
you know, so it was kind of, you know, balls out for 2 days. But then once you get into the season, you know, they're like that coming in, they knock the rust off a little bit, and then they fire them, hit those big nights.
And it
Weekend.
also helps with actor retention too.
Yeah.
You know, if there's an event every month, like Christmas on this one, and then
Yeah.
Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day, then we have like our May cookout, and then
Yeah.
back in July we
Yep.
bring them back for training. It helps with holding your actors and making them feel like a family.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing, dynamic
For sure.
too.
Yeah, and you know, even the people that come to the haunts, you know, your guests coming in, they can tell, like, well, like you said, this was going on here that was great, but over here this was better. Whether it's actors or, you know, set design or whatever it is, you know.
We tend to you know, like in October, you know, there's a set of rules and roles that we have to do, and then like we come in through the Valentine's Day show, we're like, oh well, we want a gimp, and we're going to put a gimp in the basement.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, let's put a gimp in the basement. Let's put a guy in a gimp outfit in the basement.
Yeah.
Why not?
Sure.
You know, and we have more fun, playful roles
Yeah.
where we don't give them like, all right, you got to say this line 17 million times a night, or you got to do
Right.
this. It's kind of like, you're the gimp in the basement. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know, don't actually whip anybody. Like, you
Yeah.
know, stuff like that. Or, you know, there's a dominatrix in the attic or whatever. We feel like.
Whatever it is, whether it's season or an off-season event or whatever, well, the one that kills me the most, or, you know, I guess I don't want to say a pet peeve, but is everyone like comes at me with like theming, you know, well, you're a prison, so, you know, I'm like, yeah, okay. But so I've got a house upstairs, so we kind of theme it as, you know, well, that's the warden's house, or the warden's widow, because we have a warden's widow character here. So it's like, it's her house, you know what I mean? So that's where she lives. And then her, you know, misfit bunch of people that are in there, you know, and then we get into the cell blocks, and, you know, we'll throw like a you know, prison church or whatever, you know, what's it called, chapel, infirmary, all that good stuff. But it's the theming that gets me on, you know, a lot of people, like, I have clowns in here, and they're just like, why would you have clowns in a prison? I'm like, well, you know, because people like them. Well, how does that fit your theme? Well,
Even the prisoners need entertainment.
yeah, right.
You know?
It's just like, I don't know.
The Pataskala Haunted Forest was great for that, where they were, you know, a Murdoch family, and there were a woods, and you know, the first stop is you hear the history of the Murdoch family and
Yeah.
how they shot the sheriff and he died, and you know there were strange going-ons in the woods, and don't, you know, people said don't go out those woods, but how do we get to a circus? Well, the Murdochs were holed up in the woods.
Yeah.
They're going to need entertainment.
Yeah.
So they hired a circus to come, and,
Sure.
and that's how they got more bodies. The prisoners need entertainment.
There you go.
You know, the Dent Schoolhouse is famous for having the PTO Clown Carnival.
Yeah.
You know, they have that carnival theme
Yeah.
because the PTO brought in
Right.
a circus for their area.
You just make up that,
Yeah.
you know, that niche.
Right.
Yeah.
The prisoners need entertainment. You know, as far as I know, this was a functioning prison. They've still brought in some sort of acts, you know, to kind of entertain the prisoners sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
And
Who knows?
Just happened that they just never, you know, some of those souls never left.
Yeah, there you go. There's a lot of that going on around
Right.
here, I'm telling you. You ever been here for a ghost hunt?
I did do a ghost hunt
Yeah.
when the Ohio Haunters were here
Oh, okay.
that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see anything?
You know, I like to say, and this is gonna bite me in the ass, I'm sure of it. Ghosts are like, I'm a magnet
Yeah.
for that crap.
Okay.
So they're essentially drawn towards me.
Yeah.
And they know they can get an easy kick off of me.
There you go.
And yes, there's things going on that we did not.
Well,
especially down in the basement in the hole, this solitary thing. Somebody we had those ones where they screw in the FM dials and stuff.
Yeah. Sounds like a bunch
prisoner was talking about my shoes. The prisoner was talking about my shoes and how pretty my shoes were. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to leave now.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe we'll drag you down to solitary after this is over.
Yeah.
Be like, he's back. He wanted the real prison experience.
But yes. Yeah. Waverly Hills was notorious for doing that.
Yeah.
And they knew that I was petrified of that building.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, well, the audio kicked out on the 4th floor, Tater. You're going to go in there and fix it. And I'm like, no, without somebody else on my, coming with me.
I'm not going by myself.
I'm not going by myself
You're a grown
anywhere.
Man. Nope.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
We had one time in solitary, and this was middle of the day. Everyone's like, you go at night and everything, but this was middle of the day. We went to solitary. This guy, my friend Tony, who was doing electrical work, or no, it was plumbing that day. We were running airlines. Because between the cell blocks, there's like an alley where all the plumbing and all the electrical, for the cells or whatever, that's where it all was. So there's an alleyway on each tier, even in solitary. So we're like, well, hey, let's run some airlines and new electric. So that way we're not running extension cords and airlines everywhere. Just make it a little bit easier. So we did that. And before we did it, we were kind of just, looking back there like, yeah, we'll run one here in this cell and we'll pop it out there. Just kind of talking about all that. We done? Yeah, we're good. And I turned around and I walked out and I hit a light switch and the light turned off and I took maybe 4 to 5 steps and the light flipped back on. And we just stopped and we were like, and I turned around, I was like, what the hell happened? He's like, the light, and the guy that was with me, just one of these, just one of these real straight-laced matter of fact guys, and he was just like, the light kicked back on somehow. And I was just like, dude, that's weird. And he was like, goddamn ghost. And I just walked over to it and I flipped it back off and I was just like, okay. And I turned around and I walked away and we kept kind of looking back to see if the light kicked back on. But that's probably the weirdest thing that ever happened because I don't know. How does a light switch, like just one there, just boop, kick it off.
Right.
Yeah.
And they, they are absolutely for some reason attracted to me of some sort. I don't know. It's because they can, they easily know they can screw with me and they get a reaction or whatever. Yeah. But yes, I'm the best and or worst person to be on a ghost hunt with because I am like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. I will jump and scream and
that's good though.
Yeah.
That makes it more authentic, So tell me about hashtag defund Tater.
So there was a vendor that was causing some issues.
Yeah.
And saying the police in St. Louis, while we're trying to ramp up, trying to have a show in St. Louis, when they're trying to have Transworld, saying the police got defunded and you shouldn't go. The city's not safe. And
I wonder, because honestly, I didn't really read a bunch. I saw you post on it saying, hey, I was just, saying this, that, or the other. So
right.
No big deal.
So he posted a link to the article. I mean, if you read the article, the police weren't defunded. They just took $4 million from their budget that they haven't touched in 12 years and put it into somebody else's budget.
Gotcha.
So that's where he was saying, and I kind of pointed that out as eloquently as possible to the person. Probably not tactful, but, and he came back and it's like, well, maybe we should defund you. And I'm like, well, brilliant. Like, if anybody in this industry should be defunded, it should be me. So I started a hashtag and, created that. And it's, I had 300 stickers at Midwest. They were all given out. Had T-shirts made at Transworld, 100 stickers at Transworld. They were all over the place at Transworld.
I saw them, that's good stuff.
So it's just a little, and on all would, because I was tethered to Froggy's booth.
Yeah.
All it did was bring people into Froggy's booth.
Yeah.
Here, sure, you want a sticker? Here you go. You want a fog machine? You want to look at this? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And it seemed to work, and it's a fun little hashtag. And, now I can say, like, jerkish things on the internet and be like, you should defund him. Yes.
You You've got these things. There's so many things that I'll just sit there and laugh, and I'll say them to my wife. I'll be like, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but you'll post these things. well, what if this happened? Then and I'm just like, oh my God, and I'll say that to my wife, and she'll be like, what are you talking about, Tater?
Yeah.
She's like, who? But yeah, that's good stuff. I saw the defund Tater, and I'm just like, this is going to be a good story. I just know it.
It's literally just somebody said I should be defunded. I absolutely agreed with them. Yes, you should defund me.
Exactly.
If I get defunded, I can take more naps. And get myself into less hairy situations.
So at Transworld this year, did you guys? I noticed, and I'm not as involved. Like I talked to Mike from Ghost Ride about some stuff here and there, and you here and there. But we were just kind of just balls to the wall trying to get there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I did notice a lot of people weren't there, and I mean I don't want to go through vendors and be like they weren't there. But like, do you think it's because of the year before, or that they just didn't need to?
I think what they did was they knew, A, if they weren't open, they're not going to spend money.
Yeah.
B, if they were open, they were there, they had excess cash. They might not be ordering from you at that show because they've already called you and said, here's what we want.
Right.
And there were some vendors that are like, before we even got there, couldn't take any orders because they were already filled up. Or, by Saturday afternoon, they were like, oh, orders are shut off because we can't fulfill, and then there was other vendors that are like, well, we're just going to take your money and run and do that. But I think what we did see is there were some haunts, obviously the people that I noticed that weren't there didn't open this last year, so they weren't going to come.
Right.
And they don't need to change their show because they already changed their show from last year.
Right.
And the people haven't seen it yet, so it's still a new show to them. And then what I noticed is the influx of new haunts and new people there that I've never talked to before in my life, that I've never seen a bubble fogger,
really,
or things. And it was just like Vic, it was like the first time we ever debuted that bubble fogger,
right?
And just the Poseidon, the low-lying ground foggers that we have, just the people were like, we've never seen that. And it's like, it's 5 years old. Like,
right.
We've had this for 5 years
in
our booth every year, and the influx of new people.
Wow.
So, there are some that I noticed weren't there, but that's because they just didn't open. They just didn't have the budget to spend.
Well, yeah. I mean, and even that, but like even vendors.
Yeah.
There's a lot of vendors that weren't there either. You know what I mean?
And that could be because they were filled up with orders too.
Right.
I know Unit 70 was supposed to be there, but they filled up their catalog.
That's awesome. That's good though.
In January.
Yeah.
They couldn't take any orders, knowing that they couldn't get it to them this season.
Right.
God bless them for knowing when to pull the plug and say, this is it. Poison Props was the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. They still showed up, but they just put catalogs out because they know they can't get to all their orders,
Well, when we got there, we had a guy come up, and I was just like, we weren't even open yet. I mean, I think it was the day before. We were getting everything set up, and this guy comes up who's a regular, and he's like, we want everything. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, we want it all. We want all your masks. And I was just like, because we kind of depend on, a lot. I mean, we get a lot of orders, but a lot of people buy there and take with, So I was just like, see, I'm like, really? You want me to I'm like, whatever, if that's what you want, we'll do that, I guess. But I just felt like, should I do that? Should I really just like all these here? You want them all? So then we kind of broke it down a little bit, and we started going through everything. And I was just like, do you really need another one of these? And he's like, we've already got 3 of those. No, I don't. So we were able to work it out, to where he only bought, a partial amount of everything. He's, but I want all of these. I want them all. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But that's where we were kind of like, we came to the show thinking we're going to make our money here.
Yeah.
Rather than depend on, I know we got orders, but it was like, we sold a lot at the show, and we were pretty surprised.
There was somebody at Midwest this weekend, went as soon as the show floor opened, walked directly in, went to Ghost Ride and said, we want everything on your table.
Yeah.
Mike was like, done.
Yeah. Well, hey.
Sold, wrote on it. I mean, he stayed in his booth Saturday. He stayed until about 2:00 on Sunday, then rode on the table, sold out. Have a nice time. See you at Transworld.
Yeah. Hey.
You know what? If somebody comes in my booth and says, I want to buy all of these fog machines, that's fine. I've got more.
Yeah, I'll make more.
They're not taking it with them. They still say we can have this, this fog machine up until Sunday. Sell the booth. And in that way, I know I've got at least this sold.
Yeah.
And just start hanging hashtag, little price tags, sold.
Yeah. It was funny. We were just right down from Ghost Ride at Transworld. And I was down there. It was me and Mike, and I don't know who the lady was, but she was owned a haunt somewhere. And he was like, "Hey, I want to show you this body." And we walked down there, and he was showing. I'm like, "Dude, that's killer," because they make such amazing. It's just
they're the only ones I trust with my likeness.
Yeah, exactly, right. I remember seeing the, you laying down, yeah. But I'm sitting there, and he was showing it to me, and I'm like, "Yeah," and there was another lady there. And I was like, wow, that is killer. And I asked him a couple questions on it. And he's like, yeah. And he was telling me. And this lady goes, I'll take it. And he was just like, okay. And I was just like, damn. I mean, I'm like literally about to say, all right, I want it. You know what I mean? But it was a one of a kind. He's like, we're only doing this for here. And
was it the Frankenstein body?
No, no, it wasn't that one. It was this. It kind of had like the rib cage split open. It was like it had like a, what am I thinking? A hospital gown. It was like one of those kind of deals. And the rib cage, the lungs, it was just gorgeous. So we walked down to this other one, and he was like, let me show you this one. And we walked down there, and he starts telling me about it. I'm like, dude, that is killer. I'll take it. And I just kind of looked over. I was like, God damn. I'm like, son of a bitch. I am just like off my game here, And he's like, okay. And he just writes it off. And I was like, well, thanks, Mike, for showing me the bodies, and I went back to my booth.
That I can't have them.
Yeah. Tail tucked between my legs, head down. Right. I was like, geez, she knew, Oh, yeah. She knew. She's like, these aren't going to last.
I like the people that try to get into the show floor on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And they secretly try to shop, and every year, like, oh, here he comes.
Yeah.
Here he comes. He's going to try to buy my booth before anybody else does.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's not a bad thing.
It's definitely not a bad thing. No. But I hung out with Mike on Sunday night at Midwest.
Yeah.
He's part of the Forever Bonded experience.
Oh, yeah, man. Let's talk about that. What happened, man?
So we were at the Hilton in our hotel. And
Midwest was in Milwaukee this year.
Midwest was in Milwaukee, and I've never heard anything about Milwaukee. I've never heard good nor bad about Milwaukee. But it became very obviously, once we landed, we were not in safe territory. And
really?
Yeah, I mean, that's just the homeless that were around, and they were very aggressive homeless. They were not bashful, or they were not.
They weren't
shy.
Asking, they were demanding.
Right, pretty much, and they would. But the Hilton that we were staying in was built in like 1928, and it became a Hilton. It wasn't built as a Hilton; it was built as something else.
Gotcha.
And then Hilton bought it and put their name on it and kind of left everything as it was. It kind of it looked like something out of like American Horror Story Hotel or the Hotel Cecil. It was just very nice architecture with gold everywhere and giant chandeliers and old things and, pictures and artwork and architecture everywhere that you just kind of wanted to look around and see. But on Sunday, like on Thursday when I landed, I was in the bar and I was talking to the bartender and I said, do you guys have a pool here? And he's like, we haven't had a pool since the water park shut down. I was like, the water park shut down? And he goes, yeah. We used to have a water park, but it shut down. I said, why did it shut down? COVID? And he's like, no, it shut down in 2013. I said, is it still here? And the guy's like, yeah. So, can I see it? And the manager, he's like, well, let me talk to the manager. And the manager came out and was like, yeah, I'll show it to you. So it took me to show me the water park. He took me physically into the water park. And I got to look around and see the things and came back out. And I was talking to random haunters and I was like, we're we're gonna go into that water park. Like that, the doors they got me into, like it was securely locked, but there's got to be more than one entrance and exit into this water park, and we're not gonna be disruptive or,
right.
you know, we're just gonna kind of find our way into this water park, and let's try to do that. And we were trying all weekend, Vic. We tried every which way we could find, and the only way that I could show people that there was actually, because, you know, if I go up to you and be like, there's an abandoned water park in this hotel, you're gonna think I'm full of shit. Like, you're gonna honestly think I'm full of shit.
Right.
So I would bring you out, and there's floor to ceiling windows, and if you put your head against these windows, you could see inside and see these water park.
That's killer. Yeah.
But that's the only way I can convince people that we're not going on a ghost hunt. We're actually looking at a water park.
Right.
And so we are trying to get into this water park again. This is last night, Sunday, and I'm like, let's just ask security. Like, the front desk people were atrocious. They just didn't want to play the games with us, and
right.
you know, and when I needed things for my room, I would say, hey, I need things for my room, and
right.
and the front desk guy, he was kind of a jerk about it. And on Sunday, I needed towels. For some reason, it's a new thing in the hotels where they don't give you, like, they don't come in and refill your towels or clean your room on Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays. Or maybe that's just a Milwaukee thing.
It was like that in St. Louis for me.
But, like, we couldn't get towels or shampoo or anything. So anything we needed, we'd have to go to the front desk. And Saturday, we really tried really hard. One of the bartenders said there was a presidential suite that they don't use, and it has a lot of cool architecture and artifacts in there, and we wanted to see that. And we were hammering it pretty hard, and the guy at the front desk was like, no, and wouldn't call anybody or anything. But so Sunday, jump ahead, I needed towels for my room. And I walk up and he's like, let me guess, you want to see the water park again? And I'm like, no, I need towels for my room.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, what is it with you and the water park anyway? It's been abandoned for 2013. I'm like, that's exactly what it is we're naturally drawn towards the abandoned things. We just want to see what it looks like so we can, you know, maybe we're going to do an abandoned water park scene in our haunted house, or you know, we just want to see what it is and get pictures so we can always have this reference files. And you know, and it doesn't hurt to see a ghost.
Right.
It doesn't hurt to see a ghost in here. Or I said, but there's a executive lounge over there that says Bombay Bicycle Club. That's not been there. Maybe you can take us in there. You know, if you're gonna come at me and say, you know, that's just a lounge, it's not been operational. Perfect. Can we see in there? What? And I was like, we want to see a ghost. We want to see everything that we can see so we can have references. Well, he wasn't budging, but the security officer that we found was like, let me check with my boss. Hang out here in the Monarch Lounge. We'll see what we can do. So we were hanging out in the Monarch Lounge, and then we got bored, and we decided to go exploring again, Vic. And found this staircase that was hidden behind a door and looked kind of creepy. So we started going up and on these floors and started looking, and we heard kind of an argument going on.
Right.
And we all as a group decided that we're not going to walk towards the loud noise argument, you know, loud voices. We're going to make a right instead of a left. If we made a left, we would have ended up in the argument. If we ended up right, we went back down the staircase. We were in the lobby. Security came there and find us. And so we made the right, and we went down the stairs and went right back into the Monarch Lounge. And as soon as we hit the Monarch Lounge, like when we were going down the stairs, we noticed there was a guy following behind us. He wasn't saying anything. He was at the top of the stairs. We were at the bottom of the stairs. By the time we hit the Monarch Lounge, he got to the lobby as well, and he started screaming, help, help, somebody help me, I've been shot. Now, the night before, our hotel was in lockdown because somebody else got shot, but that was by an airsoft gun, and we didn't know that. And there may have been other incidents in that hotel lobby that made our ball get into lockdown.
Gotcha.
So help, I've been shot. We kind of ignored for a minute because we just had the experience with the airsoft guns.
Right.
And then he said, somebody please help me. I'm bleeding. I've been shot. And we all kind of spring into action. And this guy has a gunshot wound to the arm and a gunshot wound to the back.
Oof.
And the hotel desk clerk is just sitting there staring at him. And so I don't do well with blood, so I was on the staying back away kind of a thing. But, he's profusely bleeding out of his side. He was going in and out of consciousness. He couldn't remember where he was at. He couldn't remember his name, stuff like that. So we laid him on the cold marble floor, and another Michael, but there was a guy named Michael, and he yelled, call 911. And the front desk clerk just kind of looked at him, and he said, call 911. This guy has been shot in your hotel.
Yeah.
You need to call 911. And the guy was like, mm-hmm. So we call 911. Michael's yelling, like, get me some towels. And finally, the guy does actually get him some towels to kind of clean up all the blood and everything. But then we don't know what exactly happened, Vic.
Yeah.
We don't know
why he was shot or anything.
We don't know why he was shot. We don't know at this point, we don't know where he was shot. So 911 comes, like every police officer, I think in Milwaukee, swarmed the hotel. I realize there were 3 haunters that were drinking out on the bench when I took these people out to show them through the windows. It was Mike from Ghost Ride and some other people. And I texted Mike from Ghost Ride. I said, get your ass in this hotel. Don't go to your room. Just come in the lounge with us. And he comes in. He's like, what's going on? And we're like, the hotel's on lockdown. We've been, there was a shooting in here. The guy was there. And by that time, the cops are putting up caution tape in the lobby. Yeah. And I think, Vic, if we made a left instead of a right, we would definitely not be having this podcast right now.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So it's affected. Where I'm from, that we don't have these. Yeah. We don't have shootings. We don't have to deal with the guy laying in or the incompetent hotel staff that doesn't know what to do. So it's been sleepless nights and nightmares and flashbacks. Really? Yeah, don't make any loud noises around me. I might freak out a little bit.
Did you hear gunshots or anything?
We did not hear the gunshots. I think we were already in the lobby, and I think it happened on the 5th floor because there was still caution tape up on the 5th floor on the next morning. Yeah. So we think it happened on the 5th floor. We don't know if we assume that he was a hotel guest. We did see them arrest 3 people, and then we were, at 3 a.m. we were told to go back to our rooms. It was safe, but then I read the article the next day, and it said suspects still at large, so it didn't make me feel real good about leaving my hotel room until...
Well, I did see the sign after it might have been you. Somebody posted, in case you're wondering where Midwest will be next year. It's going to be back in Chicago.
It's in Roseburg or Rosemont. Yeah.
Do you think that's why? Or
No. Those people didn't have any idea. I mean, there was only about 8 of us that were forever bonded by this traumatic experience, and the cops rushing around and banging on doors with the AR-16s at the doors.
Jesus, that's crazy.
And that's what that was. And it is no fault of Midwest. It's no fault of Trans World or anything like that. It was just
no control over that.
Just randomly happened in our hotel. Yeah. Now Hilton needs to step up, and none of, like I told you before, nobody from Hilton has ever contacted us. Yeah. Said, hey, I'm sorry about what you saw or what you had to tend to or anything like that.
Or how they handled it.
or how they handled it, because the general manager did show up. But we were in what they call the Monarch Lounge because we were told there to sit there by the cops. All the manager wanted to do was close and lock the doors of the Monarch Lounge. He just didn't want that area to be open anymore. Yeah. And it wasn't it was a obscure place. It was literally right off the lobby, and nobody was in there but us, and nobody was allowed in there but us. Yeah. Why and so he would sit there and talk to the cops, and the cops would be like, we'd go to the cops and be like, can we go to our rooms yet? No, we need to get you out of here. We understand that the manager wants that area closed and locked. And then he would go to the like hotel security and come back, and he would just glare at us.
Yeah.
Did not make us feel welcome or anything like that. He would just glare at us because he wanted that room locked.
Yeah.
And it's like,
that just sounds
can
surreal.
you So then I did go back up to the front desk to get my towels, and oddly enough, I'm not bullshitting you on this, he was like, okay, I'll get you a towel. And he said, we got to see something, aren't you happy now? And I'm like, no, I didn't want to see a freaking shooting in your hotel.
Yeah.
I wanted to see a ghost.
Yeah.
And the towel he gave me, he started to hand it to me, and he was like, no, 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 no. And he pulled it away, and when he pulled it away, I saw he was trying to give me a towel with dried blood on it.
Jeez.
So I didn't get extra towels for my room that night.
The hell with that.
Yeah.
So Milwaukee Hilton, avoid at all costs.
Milwaukee, I think it's called the City Center Hotel.
Yeah.
Avoid.
Wow. Dude, that's crazy, man.
It's nuts.
Nothing.
But
You've never seen anything like that.
Never seen anything or had to deal with anything like that. And thank God, Molly and Michael from Poair and Alejandro were there, and they handled the situation a little better than I was. I was probably am still a little PTSD and in shock from what I just saw. But knowing that if we made the left instead of the right, we wouldn't be having this podcast.
God, who knows, man?
It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, that's crazy, man. I'm sorry I had to go through something like that. That's not why we go.
No, we go for a ghost and fuck the front desk guy for saying, well, you got to see something. Yeah.
That's
not what we
crazy,
wanted to
man.
fucking see at that point in time.
And that's a real douche move to say something like that, because knowing full well that, I mean, that, you don't know what happened to that guy. You could be talking about, somebody who's passed on, and well, this guy got to see it at least. It's like, dude, you're a douche.
Right. We want to see an abandoned water park, not a shooting in your fucking hotel for the second time to go on lockdown in 2 nights.
Man, so Milwaukee's crazy, man. Who
Milwaukee,
knew?
land of cheese curd and beer.
Yeah.
And apparently hotel shootings.
Well, let's not put that out there, but everyone in Milwaukee be like, hell with these guys. Cheeseheads, man.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, when you go back,
there is no going back to Milwaukee.
Well, I mean, to Midwest.
We have, as a company, we have banned Milwaukee. If any trade show is going to be in Milwaukee, Froggies and Frog will not be attending.
There you go. So no trade shows in Milwaukee. Hopefully next year. So what's the next one you're going to then?
Next one I go to is Christmas Expo in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, there you go.
Super safe there too. So.
Yeah.
I will always have somebody near me or around me.
When is that? When's that happening?
2 weeks. I leave on the 13th of July.
Awesome. That's cool,
13th of July.
13th,
so.
Yeah. Vegas is fun.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you go through Vegas unscathed, and we see you back at Trans World and Midwest, and all the. Do you think the other one, Hong Kong? Do you think that's coming back? You hear anything on that?
No, I heard it's dead.
Really?
It's a dead show right now.
Okay.
So.
And there's one up in the Northwest they do too, isn't there?
There is. That should be back next year.
Awesome.
That should be back. Yeah. But there's Texas Haunters. The same weekend I'm in Christmas Expo, there's a Texas Haunters one going on. I'm the only one from my company that knows Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
And anybody from my company should know Halloween stuff. So
there you go.
I go to the other one.
Well, I got to get with you on some fog juice anyway, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to talk to you while we're still here. We'll talk to you about that. But, well, man, I got to tell you, if, you're out and about this season, you want to come up to Blood Prison, whether it's in character or just to come through, man, you let me know, okay?
I will do that.
And I hope everything goes good everywhere else you're going. I'm sorry I had to go through this craziness in Midwest. Like I said, I heard about it and I wanted to talk to you about it, but, I didn't know. I didn't know how you're feeling because I knew it was kind of traumatic.
I took a sleeping pill for the first time last night, and I'm still a little groggy today. So,
really?
Yeah, otherwise I wouldn't sleep. And I still woke up every hour last night. Every hour on the hour. Just like, all right, it's time to check the house.
Yeah.
And I live on a 300-acre apple orchard, so ain't nobody ever coming.
No.
Well,
but I think time passes, man. It'll smooth over, and you'll get back to regular sleep at least.
Yeah. Hopefully. Hopefully.
Hell yeah.
Till then, I got plenty of ZQL.
It doesn't hurt, does it? Well, listen, man, I don't want to keep you much longer, so thanks for coming up to Blood Prison and hanging out with us for the night. And we'd love to have you back on down the road. And I hope you guys have a good Halloween. And thanks, man. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Scott, Tater, Lynd, everybody. Lynd, sorry.
Lynd, it's okay, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, man. We'll see you soon.
Thanks. See you later.
All right, buddy.